You know, there's something uniquely painful about feeling dismissed by the people who should respect you most, your own children. Maybe you've noticed in the way they interrupt you, make decisions for you without asking, or brush off your advice like it doesn't matter anymore. And the worst part? It leaves you wondering, did I do something wrong? Do they even see me as someone worthy of respect? Let me tell you something important right now. This isn't about you failing as a parent. This is about shifting dynamics, busy lives, and sometimes just plain old forgetfulness on their part about how much your wisdom still matters. But here's the good news. You can turn this around. Not by demanding respect, but by embodying it in ways that naturally invite others to treat you differently. In this video, we're going to walk through 6 powerful strategies to help you regain the respect you deserve without arguments, guilt trips, or bending over backward to please others. These aren't quick fixes. They're mindset and action shifts that, over time, will help your children and others see you in a new light. Now, let's start with the first and most foundational step, setting boundaries with kindness. 1. Set boundaries with kindness, but firmness. There's a myth that as we get older, we should become more passive, more willing to go along with whatever our children or others decide for us. But here's the truth. Boundaries aren't just for the young. In fact, they're more important now than ever. Think about it. If your child interrupts you constantly or makes plans for you without consulting you, and you just sigh and let it happen, what message does that send? It tells them, even unintentionally, that your preferences don't matter. So, how do you change that? Start small but clear. For example, if your daughter always decides for you what family gatherings you'll attend, try this. I appreciate you trying to help, but I'd like to be the one to decide which events I'm up for. Let me check my calendar and get back to you. If your son talks over you, wait for a pause, smile, and say, I wasn't finished sharing my thoughts. I'd like to complete what I was saying. The key here is delivery. No anger, no guilt, just calm, confident assertion. You're not scolding them. You're reminding them, I am still here and my voice matters. At first, they might be surprised. They're used to a certain dynamic, and change takes adjustment. But with consistency, they'll start to respond differently. 2. Stop overgiving and start receiving. This one might sting a little, but stay with me. Many of us, especially from older generations, were raised to believe that love means constantly giving, whether it's money, time, or emotional support, often at the expense of our own needs. But here's the hard truth. Overgiving can actually erode respect. When you're always the one bending over backward, watching the grandkids at the last minute, loaning money without hesitation, or dropping everything to fix their problems, it's easy for others to start taking you for granted. They stop seeing you as a person with your own limits. They see you as a resource. So what's the alternative? Practice graceful receiving. Instead of always saying, yes, I'll help, try, I'd love to, but I need to check my schedule first. If they ask for money and you're uncomfortable, say, I'm not in a position to do that right now, but I'm happy to help brainstorm other solutions. This isn't about being stingy or cold. It's about teaching them that your time, energy, and resources have value. And when you treat those things as valuable, they will too. Now, these first 2 steps are about shifting the foundation, how you present yourself and what you allow. In the next part, we'll dive into how to rebuild respect through communication, rebuilding authority, and more. But for now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried setting boundaries or pulling back on overgiving? How did it go? Share your experiences in the comments. Your story might help someone else feel less alone in this. And if this resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more honest conversations about thriving in our later years. Remember, respect isn't just something you deserve. It's something you can reclaim one step at a time. You know that old saying, actions speak louder than words? Well, when it comes to respect, that couldn't be more true. Because here's the reality. You don't have to argue, lecture, or demand respect to earn it. In fact, the most powerful way to shift how others treat you isn't by what you say. It's by how you carry yourself. Let's dive into the next 2 strategies that will help you communicate your worth without saying a word and rebuild the natural authority that comes with a lifetime of experience. 3. Master the art of quiet confidence. Have you ever noticed how some people command respect just by walking into a room? It's not because they're the loudest or most forceful. It's because they radiate self-assurance. And here's the good news. That kind of quiet confidence can be cultivated at any age. So how you start? First, pay attention to your body language. Stand tall. Even if you need a cane or walker, posture is about energy, not perfection. Make steady eye contact when speaking. Avoid nervous habits like fidgeting or apologizing unnecessarily. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say this, but next, slow down. When you speak slowly and deliberately, people instinctively listen more closely. Rushing your words or trailing off sends a subconscious message that what you're saying isn't important. Try this. The next time you're interrupted, pause. Let the silence hang for just a beat, then continue calmly where you left off. That tiny moment of quiet is often enough to remind others, I'm speaking now. For stop explaining yourself when you don't know an explanation. Here's a habit many of us fall into without realizing it. Over-explaining our choices. I'm not coming to the party because my knee's been acting up and you know how crowded it gets. And I don't want to be a burden and sound familiar? Now, there's nothing wrong with sharing reasons if you want to. But when you automatically justify every decision, especially to your adult children, it subtly teaches them that your choices need their approval. Try this instead. State your decision, then pause. I won't be able to make it this weekend, but I hope you all have a wonderful time. I've decided to sell the house. It's the right move for me. If they push, a simple, I've thought it through, and this is what works for me, is enough. This isn't about being cold. It's about demonstrating that you trust your own judgment. And when you trust your judgment, others will start to as well. Now, these two strategies work hand in hand. Quiet confidence shows up in how you hold yourself. Not over-explaining reinforces that your choices are valid simply because you made them. But here's what I want you to remember. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about uncovering the natural authority you've earned over decades of life experience. The kind that may have gotten buried under years of putting others first. In the next part, we'll tackle two more powerful shifts: how to handle dismissive comments without confrontation, and the surprising role vulnerability plays in earning deep respect. There comes a moment in every parent's later years when you realize, no matter how much wisdom you've earned, no matter how many sacrifices you made, your children might still overlook your value. And when that happens, it's not just hurtful, it can make you question everything. Did I raise them wrong? Do they not care anymore? But here's what I want you to know. Their behavior says more about them than it does about you. And while you can't control how they act, you can control how you respond, in a way that either escalates attention or quietly commands a higher standard. Let's talk about how. 5. When they're dismissive, respond like this. We've all been there. You share a piece of hard-earned advice, and your son brushes it off with, "Okay, boomer." Or you express a concern, and your daughter sighs, "Mom, you're overreacting." In those moments, it's tempting to either clam up and swallow the hurt, or fire back with anger, which usually just leads to arguments. But there's a third way, one that neither dismisses your feelings nor fuels conflict: the name it technique. When someone is disrespectful, calmly name what just happened, without accusation. For example, when I share my thoughts and you call them old-fashioned, it makes me feel like my perspective doesn't matter to you. I notice when I bring up health concerns, you change the subject. That tells me this isn't something you want to discuss. Why this works: it forces a moment of reflection instead of letting the comment slide. It shows you're aware of the disrespect. Even if you're not yelling about it, it gives them a choice. Do I want to be the kind of person who treats my parent this way? Sometimes that's all it takes to shift the dynamic. Other times, it reveals that they're not ready to change. And that brings us to the final, most liberating strategy. 6. Find your emotional independence. This one might be the hardest, but also the most freeing. At a certain point, you have to ask yourself, why am I still waiting for their validation? Think about it. You survived decades, raised families, built careers, navigated losses and joys. Your worth isn't defined by whether your 40-year-old child remembers to call you. So, How do you start loosening that emotional grip? Expand your circle. Join a club, volunteer, reconnect with old friends. When your world doesn't revolve around your kids, their indifference stings less. Celebrate your own milestones. Did you learn a new skill? Plant a thriving garden? Write down your life stories? Honor yourself. Practice detached love. You can love your children deeply without needing their approval to feel whole. This isn't about giving up. It's about rising above. Because when you stop seeking their respect like it's something you have to earn, that's often when they start offering it freely, bringing it all together. Let's take a step back. Over these 6 strategies we've covered: setting boundaries with kindness, stopping overgiving, cultivating quiet confidence, owning your choices without over-explaining, naming disrespect calmly, finding emotional independence. But here's the heart of it all. Respect isn't something you get, it's something you model. When you treat yourself with dignity, others follow suit. Maybe not overnight, maybe not perfectly, but inevitably. So today, I want you to try one small thing. Maybe it's pausing before saying yes to a favor, straightening your posture when you speak, writing down 3 things you're proud of, no kid's achievement allowed. And remember, you're not alone in this. Thousands of seniors are navigating these same waters. If this video helped, let me know in the comments. What's one strategy you'll try this week? Hit like if you believe it's never too late to reclaim your respect, and subscribe for more real talk about thriving in our later years. Because you've earned every bit of love and respect you desire. Now go show the world and yourself just how much you deserve it.